What? Oh my gosh, that would be another stimulus. This is 2 rounds of stimulus checks. The House won't leave until a stimulus bill gets passed and new details are out, which means I get to shave soon. Hey everyone, Meet Kevin here. Multiple updates are hot off the press right now. Moments ago, I received new updates on what is specifically going to be in the next stimulus package directly from the Problem Solvers Caucus. I'm excited to share these with you. Right now, I'll give you some other updates as well, and I have a stock tip for you. This is going to be a big one to pay attention to because of something that was announced this morning, so stay tuned. I'm super excited. We predicted on this channel first that we would see some form of a compromise bill. You can look at the history on my channel. I've been talking about this for a while, and I said it would come from the House, and folks, here it is, and you heard it here first. Let's get into the updates. Quick reminder to get your life insurance in as little as 5 minutes and 1 free stock with Webull worth up to $1,600 if you deposit $100 via the links down below. All right, everybody, here are the new details. This is the cost breakdown for the bill. We're expecting $1.52 trillion of new money. If the economy does well, that might go down by $200 billion. If the economy does poorly, that might actually boost up in 2021 by $400 billion, and they'll reallocate that $130 billion that was left over from the PPP funding. This has been put together by the Problem Solvers Caucus. They say they've taken about 6 weeks to listen to what the people want, and obviously these crazy debates that have been going on, and so now they're coming out with this. This is their text. $100 billion for testing and healthcare, broken down with $25 billion for testing and contact tracing, $30 billion for healthcare provider support, including telehealth, $45 billion in forgiveness of Medicare loans to providers. On direct stimulus, we have a 15% plus up through March 2021 for women, infant, and children food bonuses. We've got 15% as a plus up for the SNAP program, which is the food stamp program. Do not be ashamed. I highly recommend you go for all of these programs that you're eligible for. Remember that children who are 18 or younger can still get free food through the end of the year. That information is down in the description below. Here we go, folks. $1,200 direct stimulus checks, $500 per child, plus dependent adults, retroactive. This is potentially a big indicator that we might see retroactive checks going to the individuals who missed out on dependent stimulus checks the first time. So there might be an additional $500 in extra checks for dependent adults. This would mean that dependent adults might get $1,000. It's $500 now. And then dependent adults receiving either their retroactive pay or only $500. I'm not sure about that. The fact that they put retroactive here is a little confusing. See, right now it just says $1,200 stimulus checks plus $500 per child and retroactive $500 checks. So it might only be a one-time $500 check. Obviously, we will need clarity on that. But this is very interesting the way they worded this. Because if it was just $500 once, it would have just been $500 per child plus dependent adults. Not sure why they said retroactive. We'll have to pay attention to that. Rental assistance for the most needy and other rent stabilization programs, and an eviction ban through January 2021. This would be a month longer than the current eviction ban we have, and it finally provides that rental assistance that we need. Remember, we're $21 billion in the hole. Student loan forbearance through December 31st. We kind of have that already, but that's all right. On unemployment, we've got $120 billion for $450 per week for 8 weeks of unemployment, plus 5 weeks thereafter, a $600 per week follow-up, but not to exceed 100% of your prior wages. So there's that limitation here. It looks like this would start around mid-October. And that's probably because they expect to pass this bill sometime around October 1st, maybe even September 30th, so somewhere around this time, which means we might see those stimulus checks somewhere around October 10th, October 7th, October 15th. We'll have to pay attention to this. Small business and nonprofits. Here's some more details on the PPP. We've got $240 billion in PPP money, a second loan, flexible use, full transparency, simplified forgiveness. It says prioritized for businesses in distress, but it does not say only businesses in distress. So that's a change because previously we saw there was a restriction that you might have to have your income be 35% lower compared to the same quarter as last year. We don't see that restriction right now, so we'll put a line through that. $95 billion in new money, community banks, mid-sized banks. Oh, look at this. Oh my gosh, $50 billion for the EIDL. Oh my gosh, we might see the grants again, the $1,000 per employee. And fixing the Main Street lending program. Folks, that's huge. That's actually huge for a company like Dave & Buster's. That's not the, I made a Dave & Buster's video a few days ago. You could watch that. But that's not the stock tip I wanted to give you. That's actually really interesting. $50 billion for targeted employee retention credits. Good. That's good for employers. Schools and children. Oh, they're actually bumping it to $145 billion. First account of this was about $130 billion. So schools and childcare, we've got $15 billion for childcare providers, $10 billion for provider relief, $5 billion for childcare grants, $100 billion for K through 12, whether it's virtual, hybrid, or in person. Remember, the prior bills required that money would only be dispersed if schools actually reopened. $30 billion for colleges. What do we have here? State and local aid, $500 billion. We've got $130 going to past state and local COVID expenses. $130 billion going to future COVID expenses. $120 for documented local general revenue budget shortfalls. So this is going to get tagged as being a bailout for blue states. $250 billion in new money for general revenue shortfalls. Yes, same thing over here, right? This is the blue state and city bailout section here. So you're going to see some pressure on that. $400 million in election aid, and this is going to be for staffing, polling locations, PPE, communication for voting. Very interesting. When, where, how to vote. Okay. What else do we have here? Agriculture. We've got $25 billion for ag, $15 billion for the post office, $12 billion for broadband in underserved areas, so internet in underserved areas. Modified statutes to allow extension of census, allowing the extension of the census, okay. Worker liability. Oh, worker liability is in this as well with the worker protections. This is actually what I thought yesterday. See, if we go over here to the compromise bill, when I suggested, hey, we might see some things, I remember saying that, hey, you know, we didn't initially see a mention of worker protections and liability protections, but I thought that we would see liability protections and something about worker protections. Well, folks, here we go. Enhanced protections for entities which follow enhanced OSHA guidelines. Smart. That is smart. That's how you get bipartisan support. Good. Enhanced worker safety. Nothing about consumer protections here. So we're going to have to pay attention for consumer protections on that. Automatic boosters. Okay, we've got minus $60 billion to PPP, minus $130 for state and local, and minus $10 billion for rental assistance based on metrics and vaccine progress. Otherwise, they will automatically extend unemployment through February of 2021 based on metrics. So we don't know what those metrics are. Automatic stimulus checks in 2021 if warranted. What? Oh my gosh, that would be another stimulus. This is 2 rounds of stimulus checks. Oh my gosh, because look at this. On the support for families, we have $1,200 stimulus checks would be provided. And that's over here. That's part of this $316 billion they already have. Yeah, this would be a second stimulus check. Oh my gosh, this is incredible. This is a really good compromise bill. I am shocked. Folks, we got to pay attention. This is a very good bill. We got to pay attention to see exactly where this goes. Now, House Democrats, this is not the Problem Solvers Caucus, Democrats held a press conference on stimulus. They, of course, said, hey, look, we remain committed, and they said we expect to be here as long as it takes. We're remaining in town until we get this done. 1 in 10 are food insecure. 40% of all renters risk being removed from their households. We are here to provide for the American people. Interesting. Makes sense that they would jump on this. Nancy Pelosi was interviewed. She was very optimistic about this bill. She was interviewed on CNBC. The Senate, we haven't yet heard clear responses from the Senate yet, although expect some Republican responses soon. On the stock suggestion, I just want to quickly mention, I will be making a detailed video on the open door announcement, which is going to be a huge play, not only on the open door side, but for Zillow and Redfin. Pay attention to Zillow and Redfin. I made a breakdown of Redfin yesterday. This open door announcement on a SPAC merger here, It's big. So pay attention to specifically Redfin, Zillow, and that Opendoor merger coming up. I'm also grabbing a little bit of Lemonade on sale today and Etsy. Okay, folks, I'm gonna keep digging into this news, but this is breaking. This is huge. I mean, the fact that we might see 2 stimulus checks here is unbelievable. Let's get some more information. I'm gonna keep digging on this. Subscribe, share this. I really appreciate all of you, and we'll see you again soon.